For more, I'm joined from Tel Aviv by Israeli journalist and media historian Gilad Halpern. Thanks for talking to us. I guess if you're Benjamin Netanyahu, your reaction is that the delegates really in Paris can say what they want. I don't particularly mind.
Yeah, I don't think it's only Benjamin Netanyahu's approach. It's pretty much everybody who's been closely involved in the ongoing negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians. If you look at the Paris conference, the first thing that comes to mind, everyone who's been to school was probably told that if you procrastinate for however many years, 8 years, 20 years, depends how you count, and you write your assignment at the very last minute, you're not going to succeed very much.
What then was the point of this summit?
Well, that's something that you should ask the French government. I think that the part of the reason that the negotiation process has been going on for so long is that there's always this urgency to present some sort of semblance of action, of progress. And the downside of that is that it comes at the expense of actual progress. And I don't think that the summit that we see today in Paris is very much different from the repetitive attempts that have been made by several international players, most notably the outgoing American Secretary of State, John Kerry, to kickstart the process. I don't see how it is any different. And if Kerry failed so spectacularly, I don't see how the French government succeeds.
And from the Palestinian side, a lot of trepidation, I imagine, over what is going to be a new alliance between Netanyahu and Donald Trump.
Yes, very much so. I think that the only difference is that now the incoming American administration is going to be 100% backing Israel in actions as well as rhetoric, whereas the consecutive administrations, Democratic and Republicans, up until now, at least on the level of rhetoric, were critical of Israel's settlement policy in the West Bank. It is very disconcerting for the Palestinians, but it's not. I think that a Trump administration is just the icing on the cake, because for the past 5 years or so, ever since the Arab Spring revolt started and the Middle East is a big mess, the Palestinian issue has been off the agenda, much to the trepidation of the Palestinian Authority, because one thing that they banked on was the fact that it was really the centerpiece of international diplomacy. And if that didn't work for them in the previous decade, in the 1990s, it's definitely not going to work for them now.
Gilad Halpern, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Israeli Prime Minister